Scenario 5, Turning Point. Your enemies are allied against you and start close by, so be ready to come out fighting. You will need to own all 4 castles in this small valley to win. I picked the Barbarian's castle to be able to quickly respond to any threats. One of your allies has joined Roland. You are now facing 3 castles all belonging to the enemy. Good luck. Our hero is Elgan the Barbarian. He is well versed in finding paths and crushing enemies. He will need to do plenty of both to fulfill his obligations to me and our Royal Highness. Speaking of which, a 7 of both is available at our castle of Blacksford. Brother Brax the Necromancer is offering me his services. The usual occurs during the first turn. An investment into the future has been made. Barring some truly bizarre circumstances, building a statue as early as possible is the way to go, since it generates gold perpetually after you spend a little bit on it once. It's a good investment. I also picked 2 abilities for my hero Elgan. I go with universally loved logistics and a personal favorite, archery. Logistics make a difference as you gain movement points to spend each turn. This is a flat bonus independent of the size of the map, which means that the smaller the map, the bigger the difference percentage-wise. The map I am playing on currently is absurdly small. The impact this tiny size has on my current playthrough is, conversely, enormous. What is going on right now is the usual early phase of resource acquisition and expenditure. Simply putting it, I get resources and I spend them. The details, as important as they are, pale in comparison to this extremely general staple of the strategy genre. As you can see, I have enlisted the services of Brother Brax in order to sweep through the nearby resources faster. It's a habit of mine, well within reason in most circumstances, to hire a secondary hero early. I have built the Adobe in a flash! You might be upset at my passivity, but I prefer to engage in efficient trades over early ones. This used to be the death of me, but over the years I have learned to play a lot more aggressively, to expand, conquer, and crush. My next short-term objective is to capture the observation tower. Knowledge is power, especially in a game where territory once uncovered remains permanently visible for the rest of the game. As you can see, a Veruk hero is nearby, guarding the necropolis. I'm sure seeing Zam's betrayal angers Brother Brax tremendously. By the way, I always struggle with the idiosyncratic quantifiers in heroes. Given enough time, I can conclude that since several is 5 to 9, a pack would probably be 10 to 19, but I don't immediately recognize them yet. It's probably because I haven't sunk that many hours into the series. Either way, a plan hatches in my mind, like a hydralisk from an egg. Since the map is small, my castle aggression-oriented, my army decent, my enemy pathetically weak, why not simply go for the juggler early on? Since the only safe haven is the area around my castle, that's where I need to recall my heroes anyway. I might as well take advantage of this situation and provide Elgan with as strong reinforcements to his army as I can get within this limited time frame I have. Goblins, orcs, wolves and ogres are at my disposal, but before the week is over, I will enlist the trolls. Compared to the puny undead army of skeletons and zombies that Zam commandeers, my army shall be fierce. I still have no data on how strong the defense forces at Pig's Eye are, but I'm somehow not all too worried. Let's move Brother Brax back. From tomorrow onwards, my focus shall shift from exploration to conquest. The final piece of the puzzle that is my army composition falls into place. I now have 3 trolls at my disposal. Even though it is a small number, they are tier 5, and at such an early stage in the game, that means surprisingly much. I don't want to linger and waste any more time. As such, I have already sent Elgan on his way towards the necropolis of our foes. There are no reasons, however, for me to forsake the possible reinforcements he could still receive before reaching his destination of Pig's Eye. It is the usual maneuver. You've probably heard me saying it dozens of times already. Troop transfer, reinforcements, additional units. The logistics behind getting units from the castles to your main hero may very well be the most tedious aspect of this game. It is mostly very repetitive work, taxing your patience and diligence a lot more than intelligence and cunning. It has been a staple of the series from the beginning, and it arguably constitutes a necessary evil, but I do appreciate the way it has been made a lot more convenient in Heroes 6. I have of course ordered a well to be dug out before the end of the week so that I may recruit a bigger batch of fresh and well-hydrated troops in the second week. Pig's Eye, as you can see, is completely naked. No troops have been left inside at all. Since I had free access, I allowed myself in. As a bit of forward thinking, I ordered a moat to encircle the keep. It should help keep others out, in case I need to defend this place. Zam doesn't seem interested in contesting my ownership in the least. Since he's far enough forward not to be able to loop around and enter the castle as I leave, I will now hunt him down. I would like to point out that I now control half of the castles on this map. Usually controlling 2 castles doesn't mean a whole lot, but the circumstances here are different. Playing a barbarian on a tiny map feels amazing. The ogres killed Zam. He failed to defeat a neutral pack of creatures on the map. I don't even feel like gloating at this point, I was just sad. It's hard to feel much pride when fighting against AI that engages in such silliness. As you have probably noticed already, Castor the Warlock is out there, prancing around to the west of my heroes. He's now close enough that I need to dispose of him, but going west would have been my plan regardless. It's amazing how basic all of this sounds if you break it down into concepts. I'm supposed to own all 4 castles. I own the 2 to the east. Holy shit, I might actually go west and conquer the other 2 castles. What a strategic mastermind I am. Yes, I know I have forgotten to transfer the 7 wolves. Don't ask me how, I have no idea. Either way, it's time for our first Battlelands map. We're facing Castor the Warlock, but his army is as weak as it is numerous. Except for the gargoyles, his creatures are all tier 1. Pitiful. It also does him the disservice of considerably lowering the overall morale. In case you didn't know, you get a bonus for having all creatures from the same castle, nothing for mixing 2 different sources, and increasing penalties the more diversity you introduce. There's a lesson in this somewhere on the virtues of nepotism and xenophobia, but I'm not sure of the details. I'm also somewhat disappointed that I haven't taught my barbarian any spells yet. I should probably get that sorted out soon, and I don't care what all you bigots think. All it takes is a short course, and he should be capable of using basic magic in no time. I will not come out of this unscathed, but the losses here are perfectly acceptable. I should be able to carry the momentum over and acquire the castles while slapping down any forces barring my path. Yet again, a thing you've probably heard many times: acceptable losses. Well, if the losses weren't acceptable, I'd likely lose a given match, meaning you'd never see the footage in the first place. An exception would be a hole I might be able to crawl out of digging myself into in a given playthrough, driving all the perfectionists mad with all the would-haves. Victory. The endless cart of all is exactly what I need. I do control a soul mill, but I have yet to find an ore mine. As you probably know, ore and wood are the 2 most basic resources in the Heroes series, aside from gold. Mercury, sulfur crystals and gems are mostly flavor resources that you sometimes need to add on top of gold, wood and ore. If you've been paying attention to what's in front of you rather than only listening to what I'm saying, you may have noticed the ore mine sitting right there in the middle of the map, flagged blue. How I could have missed it? I cannot tell. I was probably too busy with my unusually offensive strategy to notice it. Anyway, I have transferred the Forgotten Wolves and am now ready to lay siege to another castle. I have full confidence in Elgon, especially considering his recently acquired basic knowledge of ballistics. You may have noticed that the path I'm taking is fairly peculiar. I really don't want to engage the neutral monsters in battle to avoid unnecessary losses and save movement points. I am, however, going to take a slight detour to grab the Thunder Mace of the Minion. It's worth the price, and since it's still early game, the flat bonus it provides will make a huge difference. The knight's castle of Sheldon looms on the horizon, its commanders nowhere to be seen, its defenders shrouded in mystery. The second week has yet to draw to an end, and yet here I am, about to lay siege to another castle. Let us make haste and find out what fortune has got in store for us this day. I think that's commonly referred to as purple prose. It's pretty, but ultimately very low on actual information. Then again, even if I was qualified, this game doesn't really call for much of an analysis. Look at this. 12 pikemen, 16 archers and some peasants. These are the numbers I'm dealing with here. Meanwhile, on my side, there are trolls and ogres eager to take part, tier 5 and 4 units, while I'm faced with forces from the first 3. The defenders are without a hero, without a captain, even without a moat. To summarize, the current tactical scenario that is unfolding before your very eyes, the defenders are without a chance. The defenders are dead. With the upcoming final siege in mind, I invest in ballistics. The northwestern castle shall crumble when assaulted by our masterfully aimed catapults. The castle I've just conquered is a fairly unremarkable place. I should probably stop myself now before I invalidate that statement by making numerous remarks anyway. What I have severely neglected during this scenario is thorough exploration. There are things scattered all over the map that I have left untouched, mines I have not bothered to flag. I will at least make the effort to pick up the nearby coin. The rogues have made a big mistake in trying to defend this relic. Look at him. Just look at him. Silly little bandits. They think they can oppose me? I am currently defeating entire armies, claiming castles in the name of our king, subduing renegade magnates. And they dare oppose me? They were not prepared. Yay, the coin is mine. The reason I have truly bothered to stop was my desperate thirst for magic, which shall now be quenched! Behold, my barbarian can now slow things down with his mind. Enough with distractions, we have a castle to claim. The way north is clear before me. Since a new week has just arrived and my foe's downfall is imminent, the time has come to prepare the final batch of recruits that is to bolster my forces. Although I can't really afford to waste any time, I certainly don't want Brother Brax to get isolated and dispatched. I'm leery of just sending him west under Zam's nose. What I need is a rally point. Let's try to figure this out. I need a point that is far away from the top left corner of the map where my enemies lurk. I also need to make sure that it can be reached in short time by both Brother Brax from his top right location and by Elgon from the bottom left. The answer seems obvious: head for the middle of the map. I make that a little bit more specific and reap some additional benefits from this journey by choosing the water wheel as the exact point. Picking the middle of the map also has a geometrical advantage that can be very neatly illustrated with an analogy to graph theory, for those of you in the know. In a graph, the center is the point, or a set of points, from which the shortest path to the furthest point from it is the shortest compared to any other points. In other words, I'm the closest to everything I can get without making the sacrifice of being closer to something by being further from something else than necessary. Of course, being in the middle helps in the worst case scenario of needing to reach something that is the furthest away from you it can be. This doesn't always have to be the best strategy, mind you. As evident here, I'm one movement point away from catching Zam. Well, too bad! I need to backtrack to catch him before he causes any trouble. Since I have excess funds anyway, I might as well recruit some forces to both deny them to my enemy and slightly soften him up if need be. I should be able to catch up to him to prevent that issue from ever arising, but you know what they say, better safe than sorry. Unless they say that multiple times before ringing the church bell, then that's a bad thing. The good news is I can't go far enough south to catch up to them. The bad news is I had to go so far south to catch up to them. I had a plan, you know, a simple one. I wanted to get reinforcements, conquer the final castle and be done. But no, Zam had to throw a wrench in those gears by boldly going south just to spite me. Let's make him pay for my inconvenience. His forces are pitiful. His creatures are few and they are weak. They are so scared and demoralized, carelessly mixed and mashed together alongside the living dead. The undead force is so minuscule that it's more of a liability to the rest of the army than anything else. He ran away. Are you surprised? I know I probably shouldn't be doing this, but curiosity has got to me. I want to read the sign. Optimizing is nice, but reading the sign is a low-hanging fruit, so I might as well trade a few extra steps. Long live Roland, the true king. Now I know. Seems like a terrible waste of time, doesn't it? But then there's the Sphinx, guys. Remember the Sphinx. Back at Blacksford, I'm taking seriously the possibility of sending another batch of reinforcements before the end. Near the middle of the map, there's Castor, ruining my day by trying to break through. I just want to go north. You know I do. On the other hand, if I keep doing this, I may never actually get there. Blue heroes can just leak through the cracks endlessly, forcing me back to chase them again and again. I know that the safest thing to do would be to pursue him, eliminate him, try to head north again. If he gets anything done, I'll have to go back to solve new problems that could have been prevented from ever arising. I'm not sure if I can even catch up to him in time. What I need to do regardless is prepare the defenses at the nearest castle. Pig's Eye seems to be his target, so I proceed to recruit the skeletons and zombies there. Getting a hero to stand guard should help matters as well. So will the moat I had the foresight to get earlier on. Now that that has been somewhat taken care of, let's head north. Castor doesn't seem too eager to besiege the castle, which is great since my explicit objective was to capture all 4 of them. Cathcart is the last one on the list. Gee, I'm glad I've invested in ballistics. This arduous struggle to defeat the final castle's defenders will require all the tricks I have up my sleeve. And I'm wearing a sleeveless shirt. It's over. Leadership. Where's my victory? I do control all the castles on the map. I guess I still need to get rid of all the remaining heroes. This shouldn't be a difficult feat, as you can clearly imagine based on the preceding events. First of all, I need to strengthen my defenses at Pig's Eye. To do so, I should get more units, maybe even invest in a building or 2. To do that, I'll need resources, for which I should be able to trade, to do which I erected the marketplace just in case. I still cannot really afford new buildings. Most of the conditions are, as of yet, unmet. I need the pyramid, but that requires 10 units of ore. I could trade for it at my newly erected marketplace. but as far as I can tell, it's simply not worth it. Right, Elgon, time to finish what you have started. I will get rid of the necromancer first. Castle will follow soon after. Alright, this move required careful planning, guys. Look at what I'm facing. He's even got 3 griffins. Oh! Wham bam, thank you, Zam! The ridiculous part is, he had nowhere to run. It's not like he can come back from some castle his side owns. The only logical explanation I can see is that AI wanted to deny me any artifacts he may have gathered so far, or the additional bit of experience. In case you've missed it, Castle had a change of heart, turned around and went west. Now I need defenses at Sheldon, which I shall promptly procure. As it usually is the case, there are 3 steps to organizing such a defense: getting the units, getting the buildings, and getting the hero. I get a moat and Roxana. Give her the units and proceed to hope for the best. The spells might be of some help, though I don't have high hopes. Let's follow this desperation move with something a little more impactful. I say a little, since much of what's going to happen is almost set in stone, considering the relative army sizes and distance between heroes and castles. Brother Brax shall deliver some reinforcements to Elgon, not because they're necessary, but because they are available. Here comes the awkward siege defense. His army is weak. You should be able to tell. It's not an impressive force by most standards. It's simply not weak enough to be defeated by what I have, a level 1 hero and a handful of creatures. I try to make use of my spells, but I'm also extremely limited in that department. You could of course argue that this could have been prevented. I could have invested in developing my secondary castles, I could have brought Brother Brax with me to defend each place as I conquer it. I could have simply followed Castor and defeated him before going north. Frankly, this isn't really as tragic as it seems. Don't let this encounter get you down. It's just a single loss in a sea of victories. A small price I need to pay before inevitably securing the win. I'm not really losing ground here. I'm not at a disadvantage globally. I don't even need to achieve anything here. I could lose every single unit without taking anything down, and the game would still be over in my favor soon afterwards. Anything I take down here is just icing on the cake. It suddenly occurs to me that I can cast a spell that halves the damage from ranged attacks. I proceed to cast it on a unit, move said unit into the moat, and get it killed by a ranged attack. Too little too late. My forces now consist of 40 peasants and a zombie. Morale is pretty low, as you might imagine would be the case in an army with 40 peasants and a zombie. Frankly, they're just waiting to die, except for the zombie. Well, I'm glad that's over. What have we learned from this experience? Not much. Now let's crash some skulls. The final reinforcements are on the way. Elgon is drawing near. The time of my victory is at hand. As I usually like to do it, I'll start with the castle first, killing the hero afterwards. Look who's back! It's everyone's favorite treacherous necromancer, Zam! In the process of delivering reinforcements, I switched the ogres with ogre lords. There's fewer of them, but at least they have a chance of reaching the enemy forces sometimes with their increased movement speed. This makes me wonder, the slowest creature in your army affects how fast your hero can move on the map, which suggests that all this time I've dragged the ogres along might have been better spent without them, since they weren't of much help during encounters anyway. I of course allowed myself the indulgence of casting Lightning Bolt. Let's be honest, giving spells to barbarians is awesome. At the very least, it's a better idea than letting what little mana they have go to waste. If he can cast a spell, even not the most powerful one, why the hell should he not? I could probably wait for a ranged unit, but I'll finish things off with a magic arrow, because I can. Pathfinding. An expert, yes. I need to try and find my way to reach Castle. I cannot reach him this turn, unless I attack the Baldwolves. Keep in mind this is my main army, I have archery, Elgon has crushed everything that stood in his path. And yet this is a group of dwarves. Dwarves are serious business. I know they are tier 2, but still. Thankfully they ran away, so now I can close things off, getting rid of the pain in my side that Castle has been ever since he went southeast many turns ago. Too bad I ran out of mana beforehand. When it comes to my army, there is now no point in holding back. Any losses are acceptable so long as I win. Charge! The enemy goblins are dead, mine are dashing into the fray, fearless, devoted, full of fury and hate. My morale is as high as it can get, my army is closing in for the kill. Victory is mine, the enemies lay dead at my feet, I have claimed the valley in the name of our Lord Archibald.
My pet necromancer overheard your conversation with my brother. You chose wisely. My brother doesn't stand a prayer of winning this war, and your head would have joined his on the chopping block. But don't fear. If you continue to serve me well, I will reward you with an earldom at my brother's summer palace. Now to business. The peasants that plow my fields are staging a rebellion directed by Roland's men. I am directing you to put this rebellion down and capture the leaders of the rebellion. I am sending Lord Colagon to aid you in your fight.